Blue sky, white clouds, golden sand. Such a perfect day for sunbathing on this luxury Hawaiian beach, while being served by Kirby, my archenemy. That brat used to tease me all the time about my old clothes and messy hair. Little did she know, I was secretly a millionaire. Earth to Clarine. Castle building all day won't fill your stomach. Finish your shift and go home. Well, Mary, who doesn't want to get rich? Sadly, some of us can only dream about it. If you want to be Cinderella, then go find yourself a prince. Just not Danny. He's just as poor as us. Do not underestimate my Danny. My precious heart fell for him for a reason. It's just that he doesn't seem to realize that we're destined for each other yet. But Mary was right. My dinner won't cook itself. Let's see what we can afford for tonight. My dad left us when I was 4, and since then, Mom worked her socks off to provide for us. So it was down to me to also work to save up for my law school dream. All of a sudden, groceries started raining down on me. Bottles tumbled off the shelves and broke into pieces right by my feet. Ah! Is it an earthquake? I stooped down and prayed until it stopped. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but geez, it sure left a freaking mess. Warren, the store owner, looked distraught. This place was all he had, so I helped him clean up and place anything undamaged back on the shelves. Before you leave, please take this as a token of my gratitude. I hope it brings you luck. A lottery ticket? I don't know how this game works. I'll show you. It's simple. Each ticket has a unique set of numbers. Just check the results on TV tonight and see if they match. Let me see. Your numbers are 15, 26, 14, 48, 07, 23. Hey, those are the lucky numbers that have been on my mind all day. I want that ticket. Kirby, stop poking your nose in my business, will you? Sorry, miss, that's the last ticket today, and I already gave it to Clarine. Then I'll buy it. Here's your $2. Give it to me. You wish. I didn't really care about this ticket, but there's no way I was going to let her get what she wanted. And surely, she wouldn't leave me alone. How about $10? That's a fortune to the likes of you. No thanks. I'd rather win millions instead and make you my maid. Look, you'll never get anything from me, be it this ticket or Danny. Just give up. Fine! Let me skip this stupid ticket, but Danny, never! Why are we always bickering, you ask? Well, we're both competing for the heart of Danny. Tennis extraordinaire and brooding Adonis. Actually, I thought I had more advantage as we worked part-time at the same restaurant. But nope, Danny was such a cold fish. I tried again and again, but every single time, he just gave me a soulless thank you and that's it. If only I could build him his own tennis courts, perhaps he'd change his attitude. But that's impossible for a poor girl like me, unless I somehow hit the jackpot. The lucky numbers today are 48, 07, 15. Should I add winning the lottery to my daydream list? 26, 14. Is it just me, or do those numbers sound familiar? No way. It can't be. And the mega ball is 23. Now if your ticket has all 6 numbers, you win over $20 million. Play on. Me. I think I just become a millionaire. God had answered my prayers. What? Kirby's here too? The ticket must have hit it for real. I rushed there to rummage through the trash. And, here it is. It's mine. As if. Let's go ask Warren who this ticket belongs to then. Brilliant. And then give him a third of the prize? Do you really expect him not to ask for a share? Right. Okay, let it go and I'll give you a 30% share. Great ratio, but 30% is a perfect fit for you. I'll take 70%. And Danny. Oh, that's how you want to play. Fine then. How about whoever wins Danny's heart gets 70%? Deal. So we agreed to hide the lottery ticket in a trunk with 2 locks. Each of us kept 1 key to it. Then we buried it in a bush at school. Looks like the secret race between us starts now. Kirby wasted no time and brought Danny the showiest lunches ever. But he kept up his cold exterior and barely acknowledged her. Seems like I need a more delicate approach. So I told Mary to arrange a team-building game among the restaurant staff, in which we all had to answer the same questions to understand one another better. Oh look! He liked watching Star Trek, listening to Sam Smith, and reading Harry Potter like me. Oh, Danny boy, I told you we were destined to be a pair. Next question. What is the key to maintaining a long-term relationship? There's our very first answer. Feelings? Come on, Danny, be realistic. What uses do feelings have if you can even afford to go on a date? Poor people can also be happy in love. but I don't think pragmatic people like you can. No, he misunderstood what I meant. After that, he ignored me completely. Worse still, kooky Kirby never left him alone. She even brought the whole cheerleading team to do this ridiculous routine while he was playing. Who cheers on a tennis court? She was going big, so I needed to step up my game. It's time to bust out my college savings. I spent the whole day at the mall buying him gifts and giving myself a makeover. This is the first time in my life I've spent my hard-earned money without considering the price. It feels so good, but at the same time, kind of bad. But I could make it up with the lottery money once I got Danny's heart. Look, I saw this watch and I immediately thought of you. I even met a professional tennis player at the mall. Can you believe it? And they told me this racket is the best. What do you think?
You're crazy. This costs thousands. Why are you doing this?
That's not the reaction I was expecting. But I like you, Danny. I've not been brave enough to tell you this because I had nothing. But soon, my life would change and I can give you everything.
I don't need those things. You're so wasteful and superficial. You really think money can buy anything, including feelings?
Why was he so mad at me? I thought he must have noticed that I'd worked really hard for all this, and even made myself look prettier for him. Okay, he might not like my gifts, but is it so bad that I want to be a little generous to myself now that I have some money? Things got even worse when later I arrived at work to see Kirby booking out the entire restaurant to let her, Danny, take a rest and enjoy dinner with her. Fine, you win, Kirby. I give up. Basically nothing went the way I wanted. My luck, my money, my man. Now I'm fine with just the 30% God gave me. I'm done chasing anyone. Only my stray friends understand me. Muffin, Brownie, Oreo. Wait, where's Cupcake? Looking for him? Let him go. This wasteful, superficial girl needs to make sure he's not starving. So you're the one who feeds them every day? Why do you care? Go back to your date with Kirby. I'm just a materialist who thinks money solves everything. I'm sorry for how I acted earlier. It's just that, at home, I'm surrounded by people who are all about money. So I hate that way of life. Why are you talking like you come from money or something? Yeah, kinda. My parents are the presidents of Sunland Corp. What? The biggest furniture corporation in the city? Unbelievable! So why are you working part-time at a restaurant? I want to earn my own money. An independent life suits me much better. You're so silly. Why struggle if you don't have to? If I were you, my life would be so different. I'd make sure that my mom didn't need to work all the time to make ends meet. I could even go to any expensive law school I want and care for all the stray cats and dogs I find. Surprisingly, this time, Danny didn't look at me with jaded eyes like before. Instead, he just listened patiently and gave me the sweetest smile ever. But not love. That's one thing money can't buy. How about Kirby? Did any of her grand gestures impress you?
I prefer the cats.
Our talk has confirmed that there's still a chance for me. Kirby's only advantage over me is money, but Danny doesn't care about that anyway. Is that the new student? Seems like Danny just found a worthy opponent. He's Finn. Look how he smiles whenever his opponent catches up a point. Wait, did you just call Danny someone's opponent? Someone has a new crush. Who? Don't talk nonsense. Right then, a ball zoomed toward us. And holy moly, Finn caught it just mere inches from Kirby's face. Are you okay? She's fine. Her face always turns red. Nothing to do with the ball. Kirby was so embarrassed that she ran off. It seems our race took a turn. But then, shockingly, Finn turned to me and asked for my number? Huh? Does my charm glow this much? Everyone knew I liked Danny, but he's such a riddle. Maybe I could use Finn as my last card to make Danny jealous, and bait Kirby to give up on our deal. What a genius I am! Then, for the next few days, whenever Danny was around, I flirted with Finn, and made sure Kirby saw us. One day, I made an excuse to borrow Finn's phone. Then I secretly used it to send Danny a message to stir up his jealousy. If you don't like Clarine, then let me play with this innocent girl for a bit. And Kirby also needs a kick to admit her feelings as well, right? Actually, I like you. Looking into your eyes, I know you also have feelings for me. So... And finally, I set a date for them at the tennis court tonight at 8. If Danny doesn't want me to get hurt and Kirby doesn't want to miss her true love, they'll show up. Then I covered up my tracks, blocked both our numbers, and returned his phone. Thank you so much. Are you free tonight? Come to the tennis court. I have something important to tell you. Oh God, Finn looks like he just won the Wimbledon. That night, Finn got there early and was really excited. Let's see who'll raise the curtain. Ah, it's Kirby. Oh, Finn, you had me at hello. But admitting my feelings means I lose the deal with Clarine, so...
What do you mean? What deal?
No, don't get me wrong. Actually, we won the lottery and made a deal to share it. Anyways, silly me. Money can't compare to you.
Lottery? You two share it?
Why did she even mention the money? Right when it's getting messy, Danny turned up.
Bastard! Now you're two-timing?
Danny, why are you here?
He's just playing with you. This jerk is seeing both you and Kirby. Don't let him fool you.
I think Finn is a nice guy. Plus, I've told you how I felt, but you've never seemed to like me back. So Finn told me he liked me.
Clarine, I like you. More than you know. Can't you see? I've given a lot of hints. I always make excuses to go home with you. I told you that feelings are the most important thing to me. As in my feelings for you.
Really? Idiot. How am I supposed to pick up those hints? So this daydreamer wasn't just imagining things? Turns out my plan actually did succeed.
Kirby, it's true. I do like you. But I thought you were out of my league, so I just wanted to ask Clarine for help.
Oh, how nice. Kirby, with a huge grin, then admitted I won. Then she dragged Finn away. I guess my biggest win is successfully pairing up two couples. The next morning, Kirby and I opened the trunk to get the ticket. When to our utter shock, Finn swooped in and snatched it away. While we were still processing what was going on, he ran off with our millions. But then, a shadow sent him tumbling to the ground.
Danny? I saw him following you two and knew he was up to something shady.
Then, Finn confessed that he transferred schools and approached me for the lottery ticket following his dad's order, who's none other than Warren. He knew it was a jackpot-winning ticket, so he set up a plan to steal it from me.
I'm so sorry. My dad's a gambling addict, which left him heavily in debt, and only this ticket could save him.
Oh, Finn, I believe he's not a bad person. This ticket was originally from Warren anyway, so we both agreed to give him a share to pay off his debt. Finn was moved and handed the ticket back to us. On learning this, Warren thanked us and offered to drive us to Tallahassee to claim our prize. He even carefully got me to double-check that my ticket was in my purse. But halfway there, the car suddenly broke down, so the four of us got out and gave it a push. But as we started pushing, Warren suddenly sped away, leaving all of us standing there in shock. Where's your purse, Clarine? I left it in the car. That greedy snake Warren did this on purpose to run away with the ticket. Now what to do? Walk back home or walk to Tallahassee? Calm down. Danny already has a backup plan. This is the real ticket. Enjoy the view for now. A taxi is coming to pick us up.
Actually, the moment Warren offered to drive us all the way to Tallahassee, I sensed something sketchy. So I swapped the tickets. My dad's gone too far this time. He needs to stop gambling and work hard to pay off his debts instead.
Finally, we got the cash prize. However, the four of us decided not to divide it anymore. Instead, we're building a shelter for stray animals together. Surprisingly, our project soon reached many philanthropists, and now our fund has been expanded across the US. Since then, Kirby is no longer obnoxious. Now she even wants to become a veterinarian. And me? I will continue to work my way into the law school of my dreams. My hard work has really paid off because they just sent me an acceptance letter. I might not be rich, but in all honesty, it doesn't matter, as I couldn't be happier.
I arrived home in really good spirits after an exciting training session, and my mood took an instant nosedive to see my devious cousin Caitlin holding my diary.
Oh, wow. So your crush is Leo, the swimming club captain, huh?
Give me it back.
I wonder if the whole school knows yet. Don't worry. Your devoted cousin is here to help.
Thanks a lot. But I'll do it myself. Stop poking your big nose in my business.
Hey, first, your nose is much bigger than mine. And second, about Leo, whatever. He'll be mine soon. Tit for tat. Payback for stealing my boyfriend.
How ridiculous. And so not true. She should blame herself for having terrible taste in men instead. No thanks. I didn't want a player like him either. Hi, I'm Megan, the leader of the school scout club. I'm friendly, fun, and love going on adventures, just like my explorer dad. So of course, girls like Caitlin don't scare me. From day one of my dear cousin moving in with us, it was clear we were never going to get on. I love to run around the garden and learn interesting survival tricks with my dad, while Caitlin can't even stand a speck of dirt.
Oh my god! Billions of germs are attacking me! Get me sanitizer! Now!
And it didn't help at all that Caitlin's jerk of a boyfriend asked me out right after breaking up with her. Despite my clear disinterest in him, she blamed me. That's when we were officially like Cardi B and Nicki Minaj and the prank wars began. She drew on my face in permanent marker while I slept, stuck gum in my hair, and once she even tried to shave my eyebrows. But who am I, huh? I can beat her with only one move. But now, the stakes have been raised. She's going after Leo. So I need to confess my feelings to him ASAP before Caitlin butts in and ruins it. The perfect opportunity would be the upcoming school field trip for top students, which Caitlin definitely can't join. And there'll be plenty of chances for me to impress Leo. But there's one slight problem. It's by a river. OMG, thinking of it made me want to pee my pants already. I have thalassophobia, which is an intense fear of large bodies of water. Of course, I keep this a secret because no one will take me seriously as a scout leader if they find out about this. However, this is a once-in-a-lifetime deal, and no way can I just sit at home while Caitlin digs her claws into Leo. So, I signed up for the trip, and set up a master plan for it. Baby steps. I mean, literally. I signed up for swimming in a kid-friendly pool. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Oh, but why are my legs trembling like this? Ha ha. It's not like I've morphed into a jellyfish or something.
Look, the pool is turning into the scary ocean ready to swallow me! Help!
Suddenly, a boy with a floaty bumped into me. I fell on my butt and my leg touched the water. Something grabbed me. Loch Ness Monster!
It's eating me alive!
Just then, a kid popped up and started laughing at me. It's okay, Megan. Happy thoughts. Think happy thoughts. This is much better. But then I felt splashes everywhere. I tried to avoid them but ended up toppling over and fell into the water. Panicking, I spluttered and flailed about. I couldn't care any less about everyone looking at me weirdly anymore and just screamed for dear life. Suddenly, strong arms pulled me out of the water. Then that guy carried me, and my face pressed right against his chest. Holy moly, it felt harder than a rock.
You all right?
Oh, my Superman, I'll be your Lois Lane.
Ew, snot is streaming down your face. Disgusting.
Gosh, this is so embarrassing. I got dressed at the speed of light and ran out of there. Hang on, something isn't right.
Hey, missing something?
Jesus, this jerk still tried to embarrass me at the last minute? The only good guy in this world is my Leo. As if it's still not enough to call it a day, I came home to see Caitlin watching a scary movie about a giant shark. Sup, scared of me already? It's not too late to cling onto my leg and beg. Who's scared? This stupid show. It's obviously all CGI. There's no shark in the world that could be that big. And, they're labeled as dangerous, indiscriminate killers that eat anything in sight, but in fact, sharks are most often the victims. Whew. My acting was not so bad, was it? Finally, the field trip participants list was published. Of course, my name was on it, and Leo too. But wait, why is Caitlin here? She's always wrapped up with boys instead of studying, and doesn't even remember the multiplication table. What? Can't accept the fact that I'm a genius too? FYI, I am super quick at math. Really? So what is 356 plus 445? Easy, 234. Huh? That's not even close. But it was quick. See ya on the trip. I'll be watching you, sis. The day finally came, and our tour guide is Mike, the best scout in the state. But hold on, why does this guy look familiar? Oh no, that's the guy who saved me at the pool. Scared that he'll expose me, I didn't know what to do but to give him the stupidest smile. To my surprise, he seemed not to remember me at all. Then he asked me to demonstrate the first activity with him, vertical net climbing. It's time for me to shine. Eyes on me, Leo. Gosh, this guy climbed like a monkey, but don't expect me to accept a loss. I was enjoying the victory when Caitlin approached me. Everyone knows that muscle power is only to make up for a tiny brain.
Yeah, great shout, Megan. Use all your energy up in one go just so you can show off.
Are they cut from the same cloth? Never mind. Leo's looking at me. His eyes are so dreamy. That was even more powerful than 10 cans of monster drinks. Nature hunt, monkey bridge, Tarzan rope, all these challenges didn't make me break into a sweat, and Leo even came to praise me.
That's incredible, Megan. How can you do that?
Oh, Leo, I only had an apple for breakfast, so now I'm having hypoglycemia or something. I'm so dizzy.
OMG! My dear cousin should really get an Oscar nomination for her fake act. I gave my sweetest smile and helped her. Just so when Leo wasn't looking, I tripped her up and she fell face first into a muddy puddle. Leo tried to wipe it off, but ended up turning her into a monkey. Then Mike walked past and said,
Wow, this layer of makeup is a big improvement.
His cattish tongue seemed not to leave anyone alone. In the afternoon, I took my free time to wander around and saw a pretty bird. I wonder what it is.
That's a red-capped mannequin, very popular in Central American forests.
Wow, good knowledge. Thanks for telling me without being asked.
They have a signature dance to impress their mates. Any idea? A moonwalk that rivals Michael Jackson's.
Wait, what? Why did I laugh so hard? He might be funny, but he's still a jerk. The last activity of the day was using rocks to make fire, and I was paired with Leo. Thank you, universe. I squidged up close to him and offered him a mint. He happily took it, but then suddenly turned red and started choking. I leaped into action and hit him hard on his back, making the mint fly out. Leo immediately took my hand.
My guardian angel, where have you been all my life? Anyway, would you like to join me for a walk later? I have something to tell you.
Yes! Sure. Where do you want to go?
The riverbank. Romantic, right?
River? I'll die there. But so what? This is my chance. If I die, I'll die under the title of Leo's girlfriend. Totally worth it. I arrived to see Leo already waiting. His skin was glistening beneath the setting sunlight. He was like my very own Edward Cullen, but it didn't make me any less scared.
Oh, you're here. You look pale. Are you sick?
Oh, no. No, I'm fine.
Great. Let's get on the boat to enjoy the view.
I closed my eyes tightly and squeezed Leo's hand. Then Leo kept talking, but I couldn't hear anything until...
Megan, I've admired you for so long. Will you be my girlfriend?
I turned into the ripest tomato, but managed to blurt out, I'd love to. Gotcha! Gosh, why is Caitlin here? I was still in shock when Leo jumped out of the boat and high-fived Caitlin? Then they kissed?
Surprise!
Now you know how it feels to have your dream guy stolen away. No! Please, I can't stand it. The water is scaring me.
Just enjoy the view, Megan. Where's that fierce girl gone?
Your mom told me that you have thalassophobia, but I didn't expect it to be so real. Don't worry, I'll show this to the whole school so they'll come rescue you. Good luck, cousin. Leo and Caitlin walked off holding hands. I stayed as still as I could in the unsteady boat. The world was spinning around me, but I couldn't do anything but cry. Time went by like a decade had passed. Then I felt a pat on my shoulder. Mike stretched out his hand, then swooped me up in his arms and carried me to the lawn nearby. But how did you find me?
I saw the video Caitlin just posted, then immediately went to look for you along the riverbank.
Is that so? How embarrassing. He kept silent for a while, then said, You might not know this, but I used to be freaked out by heights. My acrophobia is better now, but still. No way! You nailed the climbing challenge earlier.
If you want to overcome your fear, then you have to find a way to face it. Be courageous. Don't let it become a weakness for others to laugh at.
Then he gave me the sweetest smile, and right at that moment, he looked kinda different to me, more attractive. That night, I shut myself away in my tent while the others gathered around the bonfire. I wasn't ready to face anyone just yet, and my mind was too restless to sleep. The next morning came the boat race. When I arrived, all judging eyes were on me. I was nervous, but soon plucked up my courage and spoke out. Hi, everyone. I'm Megan, and I have thalassophobia. So I can't complete this challenge. I'm embarrassed. Not about my phobia, but about letting myself live in fear of it. I love being a scout leader with all my heart, so I'll try to beat this. Fear is not your enemy, it is your motivation. Then I walked off to cheering and clapping. Back at the tent, I saw Mike waiting for me.
That's the spirit. You're really brave and have the qualities of a true adventurer. Even when you're not in the game, you've already won the special prize in my heart.
Everything went smoothly after the field trip. Even Caitlin stopped bothering me. She must be busy being lovey-dovey with her new love. Until one day, I saw her arrive home sobbing. What happened? That jerk Leo, he cheated on me with 3 girls at the same time. Excuse me? Why is my life so miserable? I know I can never outsmart you or be as brave, as confident as you, but do I not deserve at least one nice thing? I didn't know Caitlin had this self-deprecating side. Suddenly, I felt sorry for her. She is my cousin after all. Don't cry. I'll help you teach him a lesson. Really? Megan, I'm sorry for letting my jealousy turn me into a monster. Are we good? The next day at school, we stepped into the hallway and heard a horrified scream. It was Leo with his locker full of cockroaches. He freaked out so much that his friend had to catch him before he fell over. Oh, Leo, I am just warming up. I gathered my classmates and showed them the extra special gift I'd prepared for him.
Hello, everyone. This time on Name a Cockroach After Your Ex, we have here a gentleman named Leo Whittemore. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone!
Everyone burst out laughing and Leo literally fainted. And now he's known as Leo the Roach. Actually, this was all Mike's idea, so we can both retaliate against Leo and donate to the Cry Me a Cockroach Wildlife Fund. And back to me. To make things right, I decided to go back to where I started. I realized nothing is impossible when you believe in yourself, and when you have a perfect companion to give you the gentle nudge you need.
Hi, I'm Donna, an influencer extraordinaire and soon-to-be supermodel. My family are my biggest supporters. Look, there's my sister Charlotte. Even though my parents are busy running the family corporation, they buy me whatever I want. This includes this spectacular dress for the upcoming Elite Model Look contest. Girls, get ready. We're eating out tonight. Yay! Charlotte just helped Dad secure another business contract, so it's time to celebrate. At the restaurant, Mom, Dad, and Charlotte walked ahead while I showed my 329,587 followers around. My fans even commented that I should compete for Miss USA. Suddenly, someone bumped into me, causing me to drop my phone. Oh no, my live stream's ended, and it's all his fault. Idiot, you ruined my live stream. Now my fans will think I'm rude and unfollow me. Are you walking with your eyes closed? Sorry, I didn't mean to. Let me make it up for you. Donna the Fabulous? Okay, you've just got one more follower. What a jinx. He better stay out of my sight. But as soon as I reached our table, I saw his face again. Why is he here? Donna, this is Matthew, our new finance director. Oh, how important. But not as much as live streaming, right? Who does he think he is? Charlotte even laughed at his stupid joke. Speaking of which, Donna, you're going to study business from now on. Time to stop those modeling live streaming things. What? But why? You've always supported my dreams before. But Dad just ignored me and chatted with Matthew. Dad was being so unreasonable. Everything was fine until that Matthew guy showed up. Charlotte comforted me and suggested we attend business classes for me while I prepared for the modeling contest. What a brilliant idea! Oh, I love my amazing quick-witted sister. I then put all of my focus into practicing for the contest. But Matthew kept on disturbing me with his nonsense. He even sent me a picture of wedding rings saying, "Are these okay? Think they'll match us?" I frantically called him to ask him what all the gibberish was about. Hasn't your dad told you yet? We're getting engaged and taking charge of the company together. What on earth is this guy saying? Since when was I expected to marry some guy I barely knew and take over a business I had no interest in? Dad should have some explanation for this. Upon arriving home, I confronted Dad, but he just sighed and said he was planning on telling me himself. But you can't just dictate my career and who I marry. Donna, I only want the best for you. But Dad, Donna didn't even attend her business classes and is still indulging in her nonsense fashion club. How can you expect her to handle the company? Oh no, why is she telling him that? Was she trying to help me? She's right, Dad. I have no interest in business at all. I can't. If that's the case, then you can start as vice president and get some hands-on experience. And you, Charlotte, you'll be Donna's personal assistant and support her. No! This is not how you want it to turn out. Dad used to love us both, but now he didn't even listen. Ugh, yes, Charlotte, my savior. She would surely know what to do. I can't believe it. I've tried so hard to prove myself, only to have everything given to a simple-minded fool like you. Simple-minded? That's what you really think of me? Well, I guess I just gotta take my new position to show her how simple-minded I am then. So the next morning, I dolled up and strutted to the company lobby under a different name, Miss Vice President. Ha! Look at those gawking eyes wishing they could escape from the boring suits. Matthew was there too, and was he laughing? Suddenly, my heel got tangled up in my dress and I tripped over. What a disaster! Matthew offered me his hand and asked if I was okay. Who needs his help? And all the silly chatters? Just wait and see. And by that, I mean now. Matthew introduced me to the company's core members and announced some new strategic goals for the company. ROI, margin, accounts. Geez, what kind of language is he speaking? After what seemed like an eternity, he asked if anyone wanted to add anything. Aha! I, of course, couldn't miss a chance to show my leadership. This office is seriously lacking some colors. Violet blinds would be a good start, and some motivational pictures really help boost productivity.
Oh, you mean putting up motivational quotes?
Oh, please, no. Motivation comes from the all-time fashion greats. You know, Bella Hadid, Tyra Banks, Kendall Jenner. Everyone gawped at me, while Charlotte furiously signaled me to stop. Everyone here is so boring! Alright, I'll stop then. My first day was then followed by tedious meetings and schedules. Everyone was talking gibberish and making me sign a bunch of papers. But every cloud has a silver lining, and for a foodie like me, that's dinner meetings. These people really know how to enjoy life, don't they? But before I could even have my first bite, they all started asking me about proposal this and project that. Fortunately, Matthew was there to save the day. Honestly, he seems pretty good at his job, and he's quite attractive when focused. Oh yeah, work. I gotta contribute my own talents at work too. So, the next day, I put the sign on my door, then sat back and watched my favorite fashion show. Ooh, look at those dazzling dresses. One day, I'd be walking the runway in a gown like that, not sitting here surrounded by confusing numbers and papers. Later, when I opened the door, an endless line of people was already waiting for me. Jeez, can't this company with all these brilliant brains function without me? Right then, Charlotte came dragging me away. What happened? Oh gosh, I didn't know that my computer was connected to the meeting room's projector, so everyone had been watching Project Runaway with me. Matthew was in the conference room too. Why didn't he fix it?
Okay, everyone. We should thank our cute boss for giving us a lot of ideas for our problems.
He finished the meeting and let them out, but Charlotte was still standing there fuming at me. Cute? There is nothing cute about it. Don't get any wrong ideas that he likes you. Wait for me, Maddie. What is with that attitude? Oh, right. I've seen the gooey-eyed look she gives Matthew. Does she have feelings for him? Before I could pry further, I was sent to Millen for another stupid meeting. Feeling bored, I watched a fashion show to kill time when someone startled me from my side.
I personally think this collection is overrated. Oh, sorry if I scared you. I'm Brian.
He then gave me his business card, and wow, he's the CEO of a modeling firm in France.
Are you coming to the Fashion Week too?
I wish. I actually came for work.
What a pity. There's a modeling contest this week. I can tell a true beauty like you is destined for the crown.
I missed so many chances to be on the runway. If I make it this time, maybe Mom and Dad will see how serious I am about modeling. This is too amazing of an offer to refuse. Brian, I'm coming with you. At the show, I made sure my phone was off so I could truly immerse myself in all the glamour of the newest fall collection. Brian then kept his word and took me to the audition. I was super nervous at first, but unexpectedly, everyone else looked so amateur. Meanwhile, I strutted like a pro, confident that this time I would get an offer. But for now, reality was calling. As soon as I turned on my phone, a zillion missed calls from Dad and Matthew popped up. This screamed trouble, so I quickly got Brian's contacts and returned home. There, Charlotte went all banshee shrieking mode on me, accusing me of being irresponsible and selfish for skipping the important meeting. Dad, if you don't do something about this, Donna will destroy the company you've worked so hard to build.
That's right. But instead of yelling at her, you should have been there to help out. I'm so disappointed in you, Charlotte.
Oh God. Charlotte's face turned pale immediately. Dad should be scolding me, not her. Feeling a little bad for Charlotte, the next day I went to talk to her, but it sounded like she was arguing with someone inside. I walked in to see Matthew sitting there with loads of pictures of Brian and me. We're still, in Charlotte's words, It looked like we were dating.
A few photos can't change the fact that we're getting engaged.
He then grabbed my hand and pulled me outside, leaving a stunned Charlotte behind. How are you so sure that I'm not seeing someone else?
It's just a feeling. Or maybe it's just my hope, because
What did he mean by hope? And holy shrimp, why is my heart beating so crazy? What a day. I thought it was finally over when Dad slammed the pictures of me and Brian down in front of me. He was so mad at me, he decided our engagement would be tomorrow instead of a month, as planned. But I haven't mentally prepared for this. So here I am, at my engagement ceremony, waiting for my fiancé to arrive. Ha! Just kidding. Actually, Brian called me last minute to tell me the best news ever. A fashion brand had chosen me as their ambassador. I needed to fly over for some paperwork. Thanks to him, I successfully escaped the engagement and flew to Milan to meet up with him. Finally, I got to pursue my long-repressed dream in my favorite city and not pay heed to my dad's ridiculous orders. Yay! As I woke up the next morning, I eagerly reached for my phone to call Brian, but... Huh? Where was it? I looked at the nightstand, but my passport, my wallet, and all of my stuff had disappeared. I dashed to the reception asking for Brian's room, but they all shook their heads saying there was no one by that name staying there. Frantic, I used their computer and checked the website for his phone number, but it kept saying error. Then I looked up any information about the contest, but found zilch. How could he do this to me? I trusted him. Now I'm in a foreign country, all alone, and with no money. What am I gonna do? I can't just call Dad to come get me. And neither can I call Charlotte. There's only one person I could contact right now. So I called Matthew, and he flew over immediately. We were walking along the Navili Canal to get some dinner before heading back. I thought he would be furious right now because I ran away from our engagement, but he was just quiet the whole time. So, is it okay for you to suddenly come here? I mean, work and stuff, you know?
It's alright. You come first. Everything else comes after.
That's sweet of him, but I needed to make sure he didn't get the wrong message. I called for your help, but that doesn't mean I want to get engaged. I'm not ready to commit.
At first, I wanted this marriage to happen, but now I'm not so sure anymore.
Oh my. Did me running away from the engagement upset him that much? As we stepped through the door, I saw Mom, Dad, and Charlotte waiting for us. Charlotte instantly bombarded me with her dolphin frequency yelling, saying how much they worried about me, how irresponsible and terrible I was.
You should have won an Oscar for your acting, Charlotte. Unfortunately, your partner played you this time.
Acting? And what partner? Turns out Charlotte was the one behind all of this. She hired Brian from the beginning to make me look bad in my parents' eyes. She also made sure my engagement with Matthew didn't go as planned. Everything played out just as she'd wanted, but she didn't think Brian's greed would get the best of him. He called Matthew saying he was holding me for ransom, and during the call, the idiot fraud accidentally brought up Charlotte. We were all too shook to even speak, when Charlotte burst out crying. You're right! It was me all along! She's never done anything useful, yet got everything meant for me! Mom, Dad, if you needed someone to take care of the company and marry Maddie, why her? Why not me?
You haven't told them anything this whole time?
I was still processing everything when my dad sighed and said,
I was going to tell you both when the time felt right, but seeing you pitting against each other like this hurts me so much. Actually, Donna, we're not your biological parents.
Turns out, Dad was my parents' private lawyer and the company belonged to my real parents, not to Dad. But then, my parents got into a terrible accident, and during their last minutes, they gave the company, and me, over to him. They asked Dad to raise me properly and arrange for me to marry Matthew as a part of their deal with Matthew's parents. Growing up and seeing me so passionate about modeling, Dad was going to let Charlotte run the company and let me live my life how I wanted to. But then Matthew and his family showed up and insisted we get engaged according to the deal. Dad had no choice but to respect them and carry out my parents' will. So, my current beloved mom and dad are not my actual family. Worse still, my biological parents had both passed away.
Donna, we hope you understand. Though we're not related, we have always loved you as our daughter. This is very hard for us too.
I looked at Mom and Dad, the ones who had always loved and cared for me. Mom, Dad, just like you two. I'm sure my parents would want me to do what makes me happy. Though I am the lawful heiress of the company, I can only do harm to it. So I hope you understand, and let Charlotte take over it. She's a better suit than me.
That's right. You cannot force someone into doing something they don't like. Neither can you force someone into love.
Woohoo! No more boring office job. Instead, I've put all my energy into elite model look. And here I am today. You've got this, Donna. I confidently strutted down the runway with Mom, Dad, and Charlotte cheering from the audience. And when I finished my part, I joined my family and nervously waited for the MC to announce the chosen ones.
Samantha Friske, Amelia Davis, and Donna Rossi!
Yes! I've made it! I've been waiting for this day for so long! Suddenly, I spotted Matthew coming towards us.
Congratulations, Donna. I knew you'd get it.
Thank you for coming.
I know love cannot be forced, nor should I rush it, but whenever you're ready. Donna, will you go out with me?
How about now?
I was swaying to the music, with the hottest girl at school in my arms. Everything was perfect when suddenly I saw a flurry of red storming toward me, and then the next thing I knew, I was being slapped across the face. Ugh, it was my ex, Rosie. She was looking at me as if she wanted to snap me in half. Okay, so Rosie and me had only broken up yesterday, but that didn't mean she had the right to go full psycho on me. Hey, so I'm Andrew, and I like to think I'm a pretty smart guy. The problem is, I'm a sucker for hot girls. I tend to be blinded by their beauty. The result being, I don't always make the best decisions around them. But I had no idea what drama my weakness for a pretty girl was about to get me into. So it all began with the end-of-term college party. Me and my friends went heavy on the drinks. So when my friend Brad bet me a burger that I wouldn't go and ask Lisa to dance, well, I didn't hesitate in approaching her. Geez, she's so hot and way out of my league. So I was expecting her to tell me to go away, but instead she smiled and let me lead her over to the dance floor. While we were dancing, she whispered in my ear that she'd always liked me. Then, yep, you guessed it, Rosie, my crazy ex, stormed over and slapped me. I woke up the next morning with a pounding headache. Ugh, what was all that shouting coming from outside my open window? I wrapped my bed cover around me and shuffled my way over there to take a look. Huh, Lisa and Rosie were yelling at each other. He's mine, not yours. Stay away. He wants me, not you. Deal with it. Oh yeah? Well, maybe we should ask Andrew who he prefers. What's the point? As we both know he'll pick me. I was far too hungover for this, so I closed the window and went back to bed. These girls, they wouldn't stop. For the next few days, they bombarded me with messages and waited for me outside my house. Okay, so most guys dream of two hot girls fighting over them, but trust me, watching them pull each other's hair extensions out isn't as glamorous as it sounds. Thankfully, my prayers were answered by none other than Richie, my awesome brother. He showed up with a ticket for a luxury 2-week cruise trip. He'd booked it ages ago, but then a work thing came up, so the ticket was all mine. Hell yeah! I hugged my brother, grabbed the ticket out of his hand, and started packing. The tricky part was sneaking past Rosie and Lisa, who were still lingering about outside. So I borrowed my housemate's hoodie and baseball cap and pretended to be him to get past them. Result, they didn't even double look at me. Goodbye to my Lisa and Rosie nightmare and hello to the vacation of my dreams. Ah, this is the life. Trust my brother to book such a lavish place. My room was huge and it had my very own balcony. There was so much to do here, from the outdoor bar, dozens of restaurants, swimming pool, cinema. I was on my own floating complex. Heaven. The next morning when I woke up in my king-size bed, I took in the sounds of silence. Yup, oh sweet silence, how I've missed you. This was a no-girl arguing zone. I got changed and walked over to the outdoor bar. It definitely wasn't too early for a cocktail. I had a pair of shades on, and that's when I spotted her. Whoa, she was beautiful. I quickly ordered 2 cocktails and began walking toward her. I was about to hand her the drink when I tripped over a sun lounger, and in slow motion I watched the cup fall. I desperately tried to grab it, but nope. Instead, I managed to knock into her back. She let out a yelp and then yelled out, "You pervert! What do you think you're playing at?" I stood there open-mouthed, contemplating if I should dive into the pool to escape this drama or not. Then I looked down at my sunglasses, which in all the action had fallen off. Suddenly, an idea came to me. So I bent down, stretched out my arms, and pretended to fumble around for them. She looked at me for a while, then picked my sunglasses up, placed them in my hand, then said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize. Here, let me help you." Then she took my arm and guided me across the pool area. I thanked her. And then, with my trusty shades on, I watched her walk away. So she thought I was blind. Yup, this wasn't my greatest idea, but it got me out of a sticky situation with a hot girl at least. Later that night, I went to the buffet restaurant for dinner. I was stacking my plate when I bumped straight into someone and almost dropped my plate. Ugh, it was that hot girl again. I quickly put my shades on, then deliberately turned the wrong way and loudly said, "Oh, I'm sorry." She put her hand on my shoulder and guided me so I was facing her, then said, "Yeah, it's me, the girl from the pool. And it's okay, I should have been looking where I was going. Do you need any help?" I quickly cut her off. "No thanks, it's okay." Then I lifted my plate up to my nose and sniffed it. These prawns sure smell good. She raised an eyebrow at my food-smelling talent, so I carried on pretending to sniff the food as I put it on my plate. And you know what? She wouldn't quit staring at me. Eventually, she walked off. Phew, what a narrow escape. Afterward, I went to the top deck bar to chill out, with yet another cocktail. Then who should walk over but, yup, you guessed it, the hot girl. I immediately looked away from her, but what's this? She walked over to me and sat down opposite me. "Hey, do you remember me?" she asked. Seeing my chance to flirt with her, I replied, "Oh yes, how could I forget someone as beautiful as you are?" "Huh? How do you know that I'm beautiful?" Damn it, I needed to think before I spoke. "Ah, well, it's your voice. A sweet voice like yours can only belong to a beautiful girl." Crisis averted. As after that we started chatting, and oh boy, she's a sweetheart. Do you know that she's an activist for an organization that works hard to guarantee the rights of baby girls born in Africa? I know, amazing. The evening came to an end and she said, "Oh, my name's Bella, by the way." I replied, "Bella, a name as beautiful as your soul. Mine's Andrew." She gave me a nervous giggle. "Well, Andrew, it's getting late, so I suppose I better get back to my cabin." I didn't want the night to ever end, so I blurted out, "Whoa, Bella, look at the sky. Isn't it so stunning?" She glared at me and then replied, "How would you know that?" Oops, of course, I was meant to be blind. I can feel it from the breeze." She gave me a quizzing look, then said, "Right. Well, good night. How about we meet at the arcade tomorrow, let's say 10 a.m.? I excitedly agreed, then she left. Another close escape. I really needed to be more careful. Bella, Bella, Bella. I couldn't stop thinking of her. The next day, I'm such a kid when it comes to arcades, I can't help it. My inner child comes out and, ooh, a car racing game. Nope, I was pretending to be blind. So I awkwardly lingered in the foyer and waited for Bella to show up. When she did, she took my arm and guided me through the arcade. She described all the different games machines to me, which I thought was really sweet. Then she led me over to the plushie grabber machine and squealed excitedly. Hoo-hoo, I loved these as a kid. Soon I was fumbling about to slot my money in, adamant I was going to win her a plushie. But wait, I was meant to be blind. So I touched the controls, then closed my eyes. Her laughter said it all. Massive fail. It was all going to be okay until Bella had to use the restroom and instructed me to stay put and wait for her by a shooting game machine, which just so happened to be my all-time favorite arcade game. I rushed over to it as soon as she was out of sight, grabbed a gun, and shot 5 cannons in a row. Then I jumped up and down and whooped in the air. I turned around and saw Bella frowning at me. Oh boy, busted. I tried to explain, but she just shook her head and said, "How could you? You're a coward, a pervert, and a liar." Then she ran off. I felt terrible. I tried searching the ship for her, but I couldn't find her anywhere. Feeling bummed out, I ordered a cocktail, then went for a walk across the deck. Suddenly, I heard shouting coming from below me. Huh? What was that? I peered down and saw a man and a woman trying to drag a little girl into one of the safety rafts. Hang on, they weren't alone. Bella was there too. She was trying to pull the little girl away from them. Without even thinking, I dropped my drink and ran over to them. I charged towards the woman and knocked her so hard she almost fell into the sea. The man reached out to steady her, which gave Bella a chance to pick up the kid. Then she grabbed my arm and pulled me away. After that, the bad guys jumped into the raft and sailed away. We returned the girl to her parents. It turns out Bella was on her way to her cabin when she saw a couple in tears as they couldn't find their daughter. So she went looking for her and walked in on the kidnapping. After that, Bella forgave me. Well, I did save the day and all. And we spent the rest of the trip together. Then on our last day, I got down on one knee and asked her to be my girlfriend. And she said yes. I took her back home with me, and as we walked over to my house, Lisa and Rosie ran towards me and started arguing with each other about who I liked more. Oh shoot, I'd forgotten about them. Reading the situation, Bella approached them. "Thank God you're here. I assume one of you is his girlfriend, right? There was an accident, and Andrew's blind now, and he really needs someone by his side 24/7. Hearing that, I quickly coordinated with her by waving my arms wildly about. "So, which one is your girlfriend, Andy?" It's Lisa," Rosie quickly chimed in. "No, he's all yours. We only hung out once." Ha, what suckers. I watched them run away. Then Bella and I burst out laughing. After that, I held my arm out to her and let her guide me home, for old time's sake. Lying to her about being blind was a jerky thing to do, but I only did it in the first place because being around beautiful girls makes me so nervous I do dumb stuff. It's just lucky that Bella forgave me, because I think this dumbass may have found his dream girl.
Ugh! Why wasn't this jerk opening the door? I carried on with my thudding until my hands hurt. So it seemed like she'd gone already. What a sly fox! So the woman who lives here is my mom's friend, Carol. My mom, being the kind-hearted person she is, lent her some money to get herself out of a tricky situation. The problem being that Carol hasn't paid it back, and now she was ghosting my mom. Do you know what the worst part is? That money was for my college fund. Fueled with rage, I kicked the air to release my anger. But, oops. I watched in horror as a pebble flew through the air in slow-mo, then hit a car window. Oh dear. Swallowing my fear, I snuck closer to the car to inspect how bad the damage was. Suddenly, the car door opened and 2 thugs stepped out. I tried to stay calm, apologized, and offered them some money as compensation. Unexpectedly, these guys grinned.
Okay, sweetheart. If you want to make up for it, then follow us.
Just like that, one of them grabbed my wrist and pulled me away. Ugh, as if they were going to harm a defenseless girl. But too bad for these 2 doofuses. They're actually looking at a Taekwondo black belt master here. I was about to throw an axe kick when suddenly a guy appeared out of nowhere.
Don't worry, I'll take care of it.
Before I had time to blink, he lunged at the guys like a warrior and ended up beaten black and blue. Really? Who's rescuing whom now? Without hesitation, I threw a few kicks that made the 2 thugs turn pale. They ran back to their car, and when they were out of my kicking range, they turned their heads and sarcastically said,
"We spared you this once. Oh, and choose a better boyfriend next time."
I looked down to see the pathetic guy writhing on the ground. Oh yeah, I'd almost forgotten about him. He was pretty useless in a fight, but hey, at least he tried to help me. So I took him to a nearby medical station to bandage the wound. His name's Tyler. He's skinny, but yeah, pretty heroic, I must say. He still seemed to be in pain, so I offered him a ride home, but he quickly refused. Okay, fine. He must have been scared off by how fierce I appeared to be. Yet, as soon as I turned my back to walk away...
Wait, something's wrong with my phone.
What now?
Your number isn't in it.
Man, it's 2022 already, and he's still using that outdated pickup line? Still, I burst out laughing, then put my number in his phone. After that, we started messaging every day. He sent the cutest memes, and it made me feel good. To be honest, I know I can be kinda intimidating, so having a sweet guy like Tyler take an interest in me made my heart flutter a little bit. And there's no denying that he's cute. A real softie. Well, he is a music school student. A legit singer-songwriter to watch out for in the future. And so, we became a couple. However, it didn't take long for me to realize that there was something very strange about this guy. I mean, 100% of our dates were at fast food restaurants, and while I was ordering a Coke, Tyler would ask the staff for an extra cup and ice. I still remember how surprised I was when I first saw him surreptitiously pull out a bottle of dark-colored water from his pocket. Oh, but you're not meant to bring outside drinks in.
Don't worry, this is black coffee. It's basically the same color as Coke, so no one will know.
Huh? Did I hear him wrong? Turns out I didn't, as this became a regular occurrence whenever we were out to eat. But that's not all. On a rare occasion, we went for a fruit salad with burrata cheese. I almost choked on my food when Tyler took out a container of yogurt and tipped all the fruit on the plate in it.
And here comes fruit yogurt, but I'll put it away for later. It's not so right to eat this here, isn't it? Then one day, when it was our 3rd-month anniversary, Tyler said he was going to take me to this amazing French restaurant. Wow, I was so excited as he finally broke his rules. But turns out, it was just going to be another typical Tyler date. Things had gone wrong since the first minutes. When he parked up, he started searching his car for change. He even made me look down the side of the seat. Why, you ask? All 'cause the meter was $2.90, but he didn't want to pay $3 and lose a dime. Seriously, a dime! He ran off to find it and left me sitting there alone and hungry for 20 minutes. When he returned, he had this huge grin on his face as he waved the dime in my face. Oh boy, I was so mad. You're probably thinking it couldn't get any worse than that, right? Wrong. Not only did he order a starter as a main dish, but he also asked if there's a discount if he didn't get dressing on his salad. After eating, he rushed off to the restroom and left me with his wallet to pay. He arrived back just as I was about to tip the waiter $10. Seeing this, Tyler leapt across the table, grabbed the $10, and switched it for a nickel. Yes, I repeat, a nickel. Meanwhile, the surprised waiter sarcastically said, "Sir, thank you very much for my nickel tip." The customers close by all tutted at us. I sunk down into my seat, willing for it to swallow me up. Jeez, this was so humiliating. No surprise, I was in a bad mood as we left the restaurant. I was so annoyed I couldn't even look at him. He tried taking my arm and asked me what was wrong. Flinching away from him, I said, "Seriously? Do you even have to ask?" At that moment, a luxury car pulled up alongside us. The car window lowered, and OMG! Inside was Victoria T, this popular teen singer. Before I could register what was going on, Victoria sarcastically said, "Oh, look who's here. Isn't that my poor ex? Can't gold dig me, so you turn to this girl, huh? But your new plan doesn't seem to be working too well either, honey." And the car sped away. So, it turns out he's a professional gold digger? I mean, he hadn't actually asked me for any money, but there's no denying he was stingy. No wonder he never took me back to his place. There was a time when I was so tired of some family stuff at home that I just wanted to come over to his and rest for a while. But he made some excuse about his house being messy. Now I knew he was just keeping distant with me, so later he could dump me easier without any attachment. I was so furious I made a scene, meaning to expose his cheap shots for the whole world to see. Tyler was so embarrassed he fled the scene right away. Whatever. Good riddance. And since then, I didn't hear anything from him again. But, to be honest, I also felt a bit empty not having him around. I missed getting the cute messages he used to send and the soppy look on his face as he sang love songs to me. Oh boy, I'm a big cheeseball, aren't I? Then, one weekend afternoon, I was taking a walk when I happened to see Tyler come out of a cafe. Does he work part-time here or something? So I hid behind a corner and then followed him. I have to admit, I was curious about where he lives. But wait, this road is so familiar. Huh? And it led to Carol's house, the woman who borrowed money from my mom. I was still full of doubt till he pulled out the key to open the door. Ugh. Like mother, like son, huh? So, you both like to scam people, huh? Pay us back now. Stacy? Shut up! Scam's over. Pay us back. I'm sorry, but my mom's in the hospital now. So, I heard him out, and turns out it was just Tyler and his mom, and his dad had run off with some other woman when he was just a little kid. Growing up, times were hard, so his mom borrowed money to pour into stock investments, intent on providing them with a better life. Unfortunately, this only led to huge debts. All this stress was detrimental to her health. and now she was in the hospital, and Tyler had no other way but to live frugally to pay all the debt and hospital fees.
Stacy, I'm so sorry for hiding all this from you. I'll try my best to work to be debt-free and make it up to you.
Oh my heart fell hearing Tyler say that. All the angst just disappeared. Instead, I pulled him in for a big hug. He was a doofus, and he was my doofus, and I wasn't going to risk losing him again. On my way home, I kept thinking about ways in which I could help Tyler. Suddenly, the wind blew a poster across my foot. A city's television singing competition, with the prize up to $20,000. That's it, Tyler. Why not? This was definitely a sign. I sent Tyler a picture of the poster and told him he had to join. He was also really keen on the idea and started practicing really hard every day. He texted me each time he finished practicing, sometimes even at 2 or 3 a.m. The big day arrived. Tyler looked so cute in the suit I'd arranged for him. When he hit the chorus, our eyes met, which made me feel so sentimental. But out of nowhere, Victoria got up on stage, snatched the mic from his hand, and said, "My apologies to the audience, but I have to expose this person. He and his mom manipulated people into giving them thousands of dollars, then never paid them back. This kind of man doesn't deserve to be here on the stage. He'll stain the whole competition."
Vic, I appreciate your feelings for me, but I already have the one whom I want to protect. I wish you could find someone good for you and better than me. Ladies and gentlemen, it's true that my family is in debt, but we do not and never run away from this. No matter how tough our lives are, I still live true to my conscience and my passion for music. I came here with a pleasant and carefree attitude, so I don't care what people say about me. I just want to give all of myself to music and the audience. Thank you. And now, I'll carry on with the performance.
And then he started singing the song he wrote for me. At that moment, the music nerd was no longer there. Instead, there was a man with incredible inner power. I'm so proud of you, Tyler. Guess what happened next? Tyler won the first prize. I was bursting with pride. Then he immediately came to my house to give my mom the money.
Huh? Please take it. Thank you for helping my mom when she had a hard time. Please find it in your heart to forgive her. She's sick and could use a good friend. Oh, but the thing is...
So, turns out, Tyler's mom didn't borrow my college fund money. The two moms talked each other into stock investments. When they lost it, my mom didn't dare to tell my dad and me what she'd done, so she fabricated the whole lending money story. Ugh, Mom. Unacceptable. After that, the three of us went to visit Tyler's mom at the hospital and gave her the prize money to pay off her debts. She burst into tears. Then the two moms hugged and apologized for being so stupid that their kids had to deal with the consequences. Crazy, huh? But you know what? Thanks to all this drama, I found the one, who was also the debtor of my life.
Do you know what it's like to be a pampered princess? Well, I do, because my dad's a billionaire, so the high life's mine. Not only did we live in a 5-story mansion, but I grew up never having to lift one of my pretty, perfect, delicate fingers. I'm Sophia, and throughout my childhood, I had everything done for me. There was a maid to brush my hair, make my bed, and even do my homework for me. I didn't even have to search my walk-in wardrobe for a daily outfit, as I had my own personal stylist for that. So what? I'm spoiled. But I can't help being so perfect. I'm far too gorgeous to be stuck in a stuffy classroom studying. Not when I could be partying or schmoozing with the stars at swanky cocktail balls. But then, one morning, after a particularly crazy night out, I arrived home with a makeup-smudged face and only one shoe. Dad frowned at me, and then he said,
Sophia, you can't carry on like this. You're going to college, starting next week.
But, Dad, I don't need to go to college. School sucks. Plus, we have enough money to last us several lifetimes. Let's just travel and have fun. But Daddy insisted I couldn't just sleep all day and party all night. Ugh! So, I decided to major in interior design for now. Some of the course was okay. I mean, I liked the pretty fabrics, but I just didn't see the point in being there. So, after a month, I dropped out and planned a long trip away with my besties. But there was one tiny problem, as paying for this trip would cost way more than my allowance could cover. So, I had no choice but to don my best puppy eyes look and ask my dad for money. Daddy, please. College just isn't for me. But I really feel that going away for a while will help clear my mind. He snorted.
I highly doubt that, Sophia. You're lazy, self-centered, and you rely entirely on everyone to support you. You're 20, for God's sakes, so act like it.
I pleaded back. But Daddy, I just want to have some fun with my friends.
Then get a job, and spend your own money on whatever you like. But if you carry on behaving this way, then don't expect any more handouts from me. You're lucky that I still haven't kicked you out, Sophia. But soon...
What? That's so unreasonable. He was my father. It's his duty to support me. Jeez, did he not love me at all? I was so mad that I shouted, "You're just some sad, selfish old man!" Then I stormed out of there. I was instructing my maid to pack my suitcases when my mom came in and handed me a bank card, saying it's a secret between us two. Yay! Thanks, Mom. Now let the dream voyage begin. Wow, it really was heaven to me, with cocktails in the pool and lazy beach days. Well, at least, that was until my friends said they wanted a day exploring. It was hot and sticky out there, but I didn't want to be left alone, so I reluctantly tagged along. We ended up in this small forest area, and I chose to sit under a parasol while my friends went to take a dip in the nearby waterfall. Because, duh, I wasn't ruining my hair for anyone. I didn't understand how this could be anyone's definition of fun. I just hoped that my friends would hurry back. Then I heard footsteps. I turned around, thinking it was the girls, but instead, there were two men with balaclavas on. Oh no, this couldn't be good. I jumped up to my feet and began to run, but my designer sandals weren't made for swift exits, and soon they caught me. I screamed out as a smelly cloth went over my mouth. After that, the world began to darken around me. I flickered my eyes open. Geez, it was so sunny. Where were my sunglasses? That's when I heard two voices, and I remembered being kidnapped. I heard the one man say,
"Got her phone?"
The other replied,
"Of course. I don't want to upset the boss."
I was so scared that I pretended to still be unconscious. Then suddenly, I heard the sound of the engine starting. I opened my eyes and saw the men driving away. Now, I was all alone in some field. What? Why would anyone kidnap someone, then just leave them in the middle of nowhere? My friends must be so worried about me. I needed to contact them. But how? I had no idea where I was, and no phone. Ugh. I should find a way out of this deserted place first, then borrow someone's phone. The kidnappers had left a bag next to me, which had a bottle of water, some snacks, and some gross-looking sneakers in it. Yuck! But I had no choice but to put them on, as my sandals were now torn. Ew! I would need so many pedicures to recover from this. I took the bag with me and started walking. After what felt like hours of torture, a farmhouse finally came into view. I whooped with joy and knocked on the door, but no one answered. I know trespassing is wrong, but this was an emergency, so I pushed the door open and ventured inside. I was just going to make a quick phone call, then I'd leave. But then I accidentally stumbled and knocked over a vase. A smashing sound broke the silence. I panicked and was about to run away, but from upstairs, a man came down and shouted,
"Stop! Thief!"
Before I could explain, he grabbed my hand and pulled me back. I tried explaining that I wasn't a thief, but he gave me a skeptical look and said,
Well, in that case, you can leave once you've paid for my vase. That's a collectible.
"What? This ugly thing?" Ugh. I told him I would as soon as I made a phone call, so he doubtfully passed me his cell. I stared at it. Turns out I have never cared to remember any of my friends' numbers. I then thought about calling my parents, but no way. I was mad at Dad, and asking for his help right now only meant accepting defeat. No, never. I told the man I would pay when I got home, but he refused to let me go. After a while of arguing, he forced me to stay and work for him until I paid it off. He even made up an agreement and made me sign it. And what other choice did I have? Yep, I was completely stuck here. This was the worst day of my life. He said his name was Manson. Then he showed me where I'd be staying. This had to be a joke. It was a barn. Literally. There was an uncomfortable-looking bed in there, and I could hear horses neighing in the barn next door. Was he kidding me? I was sitting there in despair when my stomach rumbled with hunger, so I barged into the kitchen and ordered Manson to make me some food. But he just pointed at the eggs by the stove and told me to make myself something to eat. Sure, I'd definitely do that. If I knew how to cook? Manson just sat there smirking while I threw the whole egg into the pan and then spent the next half hour trying to work out how to turn the stove on. In the end, I gave up and returned to my so-called room with an empty stomach. If you think that was bad, well, things soon got a lot worse. At 5 a.m., a noisy rooster woke me up, and then started my disastrous days at the farm. I accidentally dropped the bag of seeds onto the floor and got them in my hair, so the chickens chased me around the pen to get to them. I slipped over in the pigsty. Ew! I chipped a nail cleaning out the rabbit hutch. I even fell into horse manure. It was awful. Then on top of it all, Manson was so rude. He just laughed at me struggling with everything. But then one day, it all got too much for me. I was exhausted and felt so dizzy that I stumbled and broke 2 baskets of eggs. It really hurt so bad, and I was even in tears, thinking Manson would be mad. But instead, he ran over to check on me. Then, he even cooked me a nice meal and told me that I'd been doing a great job, despite the accidents. Whoa, what's with this personality change? So, maybe he wasn't as bad as I thought? Over the next few days, I actually found myself enjoying Manson's company. We sat by the fire pit and watched the sunset. We went horse riding, and I managed not to fall off. And he even taught me how to cook. That's when I realized 2 things. Firstly, I'd been a brat. I was lazy, selfish, and I took everything for granted. But now I realized that with hard work came reward. And secondly, I realized that I liked Manson a lot. So I decided to do something nice for him. I gave the barn a makeover. It was just simple things, really. I put a rug down, added some plants, hung up a few pictures and fairy lights. Then I dragged Manson over to have a look. He peered around the barn, then smiled.
Sophia, this is so lovely.
Then he awkwardly looked down at his feet.
Look, I need to tell you something. It's your dad. He hired those men to kidnap you, then paid me to let you stay here.
I laughed over that ridiculous joke, but then he continued.
Your dad wanted you to change your outlook on life and understand the value of money. He only has your best interest at heart.
Wait, was this all just a setup? With teary eyes, I looked straight at Manson and said, I was going to tell you that I have feelings for you, but I suppose you don't feel the same. I need to go. Please tell my father to send someone to pick me up ASAP. Unless he's okay with me walking all the way back home without any phone or cash. Then I hurried out of there. He shouted after me, but I ignored him. I was so angry and upset. I continued walking until a car eventually pulled up alongside me. It was our family's driver. He took me home, Then I locked myself in my room, refusing to come out. It took a few days for me to calm down enough to go confront my father, and when I did, well, I found myself running into his arms and telling him how sorry I was. He looked so shocked. I finally realized that my dad only did that because he loves me, and he wanted me to see the true values of life. I told him I would resume my studies at college, but there was something else I needed to do first. I showed up at Manson's doorstep with some carrots for the horses and a new vase. On seeing him, he grinned, then gave me the biggest hug. Guys, life isn't all about designer clothes and expensive holidays. Sometimes a stinky farm full of even stinkier animals and a cute guy, well, that can be the best place in the world. As for the future, well, Manson and I are both taking it slow and seeing where it goes. I do have big plans for his farm, though. I'm helping him renovate the barns into holiday cottages so other people can sample the country life too. A part of me will always be a pampered princess, but as for the other part of me, well, it turns out she can make a mean egg bagel and outrun a pen full of chickens. Don't take life for granted. It doesn't matter how pretty and rich you are. Instead, there's far more to life than just that.
Mom, come here and see what Agnes has done to my dress. Oh no, what now? Look at this, Mom. It's crumpled. This is all your fault. I told you that this requires hand washing. That means by hand. Oh, don't cry, honey. I'll buy you a new one. You can give that one to Agnes. It's yours now. New dress. Happy, huh? Can we go right now, Mom? Then let's have pizza after that. I'm so tired of Agnes's pretentious fine dining dishes. Of course, honey. Yeah, I know. That sure looked like a scene from Cinderella, right? Only stuff like that was a daily occurrence in this house. If I was adopted, then it'd be easier to understand why Mom favored my sister over me. But nope, I am also her actual daughter. Growing up with Jenna as my big sister was a nightmare. She's always been the golden child, while I was treated like a thorn in their side. If something broke, then I got the blame. When Jenna stole my things, then Mom just said I should be flattered. Then there were the birthday parties. Over the years, Jenna had it all. Fairy-themed ones, magicians, a petting zoo, and cupcake towers. As for me, all I ever got was a card with a wrinkled $20 note in it. It was the same thing with studying. If she broke her string of D's with a C, Mom rewarded her with jewelry and makeup. Me? Just one C out of usual straight A's, and Mom'd say, "Oh, why did I even get my hopes up?" Sometimes I do wonder if all this shabbiness is because Jenna's always been pretty and popular. She's basically a mini-me version of Mom. While I guess I'm more reserved, and I don't really look like Mom. Anyways, despite living in a house full of darkness and unfairness, I still have my own passion, which is culinary. To be honest, I'm addicted to those TV cooking shows and always try to find ways to follow them. My dream is to become a head chef in a 5-star restaurant. At school, Jenna always blanks me. She hangs out with this group of girls who are all obsessed with the same things she is, such as makeup, trendy clothes, and TikTok. Jenna does look gorgeous, so it's not surprising that boys usually buzz around her in the hope of catching her attention. Anyway, forget Jenna, as I have my best friend Ruth right here. Girl, I swear to God, if I were you, I'd tear up some of her clothes just for my own relief. Nice idea, I said while playing with my tray of food as usual. It looks so good. Very appetizing. Startled, I looked up to find a pair of dazzling eyes staring back at me. Hi, I'm Roy. That's very neat-handed of you. Before I could say anything, he winked and turned away to his table. That was close, or else he would have seen my tomato-red face. Looks like someone's on the hot guy's radar. Shut up. He was just being friendly. But no, that night when I got home, Roy in fact did message me. And we had a really long chat. He even asked me to join him for lunch the next day. Yay! This was so exciting. I'd entered the canteen to find Roy was already sitting there waiting for me, but I quickly spotted Jenna's group passing by, and the last thing I need is trouble from my evil sister. So I was actually thinking of walking away. But right at that moment, Roy grinned and waved over at me. OMG, that hot boy over there is waving at you, Jen. A girl flattered Jenna before I could even answer Roy. Jenna quickly fixed her hair, then smiled awkwardly at him. But he walked straight past her and over to me. Here, for you. What kind of first-class dishes do we have today? I smiled at Roy and had no choice but to sit down with him, ignoring Jenna's furious glare. Despite the awkward Jenna situation, lunch with Roy was amazing. We started hanging out loads more after that. He's cute, funny, and very supportive towards my culinary dreams. Then one day, Roy handed me a cupcake with a frosted heart on it and asked me to be his girlfriend. Yippee! This was so exciting! So, of course I agreed, but only on the condition that we kept our relationship low-key. I'd never had anything of my own before, so if my mom and sister didn't know about us, then they couldn't tarnish it, right? Falling in love is a magical thing. I was just so happy and full of life all of the time. Even doing chores for Mom and Jenna didn't dampen my mood. I thought you were only into cooking. So what, you like laundry now? Pfft, don't tell me you want to be a fashion designer next. I ignored her and carried on with what I was doing. Actually, I ignored all of Mom and Jenna's mocking jibes. The truth was, I was way too happy to let them bother me anymore. Soon, Jenna's 17th birthday party arrived, and this time she insisted on having it at this trendy restaurant in town. All of our relatives and her friends were invited, but I decided not to go. It's not like anyone wanted me there anyway, so I didn't think it'd matter. But to my surprise, on the day of the party, Jenna knocked on my bedroom door and begged me to come. Please, Agnes, I want you there on my special day. It won't be the same without you. Then she passed me a bag and left. I opened it, and inside was the most beautiful dress. Okay, so Jenna being nice was strange, but I must admit it felt good to feel wanted for once. So it looks like I was going to the ball. Wow, the party was insane. I'm talking banners, balloons, a whole booth devoted to presents, a menu only serving Jenna's favorite foods. I was sipping my drink, feeling awkward, when Jenna addressed the room. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to my 17th birthday party. Now, there's a very special guest here that I'd like to introduce to you all. It's my new boyfriend, Roy. I watched with horror as Roy appeared out of the crowd and let Jenna link arms with him. Huh? What? Why was my boyfriend with my sister? I glared straight at him, but he couldn't meet my gaze. This was terrible. I felt like I couldn't breathe. Panicked, I rushed outside to get some air. Everything of yours will soon be mine, no matter how well you hide it. I turned to see that Jenna was standing there, a huge smirk on her face. How could she be this shameless? I shoved past her and went to find Mom. She was shouting at the waiter to bring out more drinks. I went up to her and spluttered out what Jenna had done and how upset I was. Jeez, stop making such a fuss about it. Jenna's your sister, so just be happy for her. Besides, Roy is far more suited to her than you. Ugh, that's it. I can't stand this selfish family anymore. I'm leaving. Yeah, go. Disappear just like your no-good father did. That night I showed up at Ruth's house with a bag of my stuff and a teary face. But I knew this could only be temporary, so I still looked around for somewhere else to stay. And eventually I applied for a job as a grocery cashier at a 24/7 gas station. Well, at least I had shelter. One night, a drunk man walked in. He didn't look so good. Nothing could lighten a person's mood better than great food, right? The store was quiet, so I took some of the ingredients available and used them to prepare a delicious-looking dish for him. Thank you so much, sweetie. I'm Keith. You have a culinary talent. If you want a better opportunity, come find me. Before I could thank him, he left. Let's see. Bar owner? I wasn't old enough to work in a bar, though. I spent the next month juggling school with work, life, and oh boy, was it exhausting. But when I asked for my salary, my boss laughed in my face, saying that since I was only 16, he could only pay me for far less hours than I'd worked? What? That wasn't fair. I worked my butt off on sometimes 12-hour-long shifts. But when I complained, he threatened to report me for stealing food from the store. Ugh, I'd only taken expired food that couldn't be sold anyway. Feeling bummed out, I just quit, and then left. I wandered around the street for a while, then looked up and found myself standing in front of that man's bar. Well, I had nowhere else to go, so I stepped inside and there was Keith, but Huh? He looked so different. Other than this bar, I also own a fine dining restaurant uptown. If you want, I'd love to train you to become a chef there. Whoa, this was so amazing that I cried with joy. In order to be able to stay overnight at the restaurant, I told him that my parents had passed away and I'd run away from the orphanage. And the man agreed without questioning me twice. Time passed by, and you know what? I loved working at the restaurant. As for Keith, he's such a kind-hearted man. We grew so close, and he became like a father to me. I guess we were two lonely people who helped each other. So it made sense when he asked to adopt me. Then one busy evening, I was taking food to a table, but then I stopped dead. Sitting there were Jenna and Roy. On seeing me, Jenna sneered out, "Oh, you work here?" Now that explains why my appetizers were gross. Roy looked embarrassed and begged her to be quiet, which only made her worse. Then seeing what was going on, Alistair, the restaurant supervisor, came to my defense, but it only made Jenna even more heated. "Isn't the customer always king? Why are you defending that dumb girl?" "Miss, this is a fine dining restaurant. Please mind your manners. Agnes here is not only a very talented chef, but she's the owner's daughter, which makes her my boss. So I think I'm within my rights to defend my superiors." Jenna rolled her eyes at me, then walked away in anger, not forgetting to reply, "Just you wait, Agnes." Then, seeing my glum face, Alistair invited me out for ice cream after work. Keith happily told us to go and said he'd close the restaurant. As I was licking my ice cream, I noticed people around us shout, "Fire! Fire!" So I pulled Alistair's hand and ran after them. As the flames came into view, my heart sank when I realized they were coming from... It was the restaurant. Oh no! Keith was still in there! Without giving it a second thought, I charged in there to find him. It was so smoky and impossible to see, but I couldn't give up. Suddenly, I started to go dizzy and lightheaded. Then an arm grabbed me and pulled me out. It was Alistair, and standing next to him was... Keith. Phew. A few days later, the police called Keith. They'd found the culprit who started the fire. As soon as I walked into the police station, I couldn't believe my eyes. It was Jenna. But most surprisingly, when Keith saw my mom, they both turned pale and gave astonished looks. Huh? Did they know each other? So yeah, turns out Keith's mine and Jenna's actual father. When Dad was young, he hadn't built his career, but just spent all day in the kitchen. So he was always despised and scolded by my mom. In the end, he couldn't take her belittling of him anymore, so he left. Only unbeknown to him, Mom was pregnant with me at the time. So the story she said about Dad running off with his mistress was all lies. I got it now. She despised me because I took after my dad, not her. As soon as Jenna realized he was our dad and he was rich, she put on her Little Miss Sweet act and begged for him to be her dad again. But he just gave her a stern look and said, "That fire of yours could have killed us all. Now you have to live with that." Then he took my arm and led me out of there. I always believed my life would one day be better, but I never imagined it'd be as good as this. I now have an amazing dad, a job I'm passionate about, and people who generally care about me by my side. It just goes to show that everything works out perfectly in the end. Let me tell you something. Something really important. I have acrophobia, so this is my idea of a nightmare. I don't want to be here at all. Oh, and that guy on the other side is Charlie. He's my boyfriend, but I don't actually like him like that. So you're probably wondering how I ended up here, 200 meters above the ground and about to make this terrifying leap. Well, let's just start from the beginning. Hi, I'm Luna, a 17-year-old high school girl from a small town in New South Wales. Growing up, I was desperate to please my hardworking single mom. The problem was she was nearly always tired and irritable. So no matter what I said or did, it usually ended up being wrong. The most common words that came out of her mouth were, "If you want me to love you, you have to be nice." I wanted her to love me more than anything else in the world, so I did everything I could to appease her. This led to the need to make everyone happy, and left me with an unfathomable fear of being hated by others. If I made other people happy, then they'd like me, right? So whenever someone asked me to do their homework or cover for them on roll call, I did so without hesitation. And if there's ever an argument or awkward situation, regardless of if I'm to blame or not, I always apologize first. At 15, I moved to Sydney alone for high school, and that's when I met my roommate Margot. She's my complete opposite, but this didn't stop us from becoming best friends. She is independent, sassy, and doesn't let anyone pressure her into doing anything she doesn't want to. Guys, if I were more like her, I would have been able to avoid a lot of trouble. Once we had a group assignment in biology, and I, by chance, teamed up with these two popular girls. The day before the deadline, they both texted me saying they were sick and asked me to do their parts. This was a lot of work for one person, but I didn't want to upset them, so I agreed. But then, that night, while I was scrolling through Instagram during my brief break after hours of studying, I saw them checking in at a party. What? So they lied to me so they could go out and have fun and left me home alone to do their homework? Oh my, I just want to take this pen and throw it right at their dumb duck faces. How was that cute in anyway? Ugh, but who was I kidding? I knew full well I'd never be able to tell them what I really thought of them. So I picked up the pen and continued my workload meant for 3 people alone. I stayed up all night and drank 3 cans of energy drinks, but it was just too much work for one person to finish on time. Our assignment, or should I say, my assignment, got points deducted due to late submission, which somehow made the popular girls mad. What have you done? How could you turn in the assignment late? I'm sorry. It's just that doing it all by myself was a bit too much for me. Oh, please. You had the whole day to finish it. It's all down to your poor time management. Right at that moment, Margot appeared, out of nowhere, and stepped between us. Pfft. If you both cared so much about your grades, then you would have helped Luna complete it. Instead of going to some stupid party, how about I report you to the teacher to cross out your names from... Margot, enough. Sorry, don't mind her. Then I quickly pulled Margot away. Apologizing to them was a ridiculous thing to do. It wasn't your fault. I know it's not my fault, but there's no point making a scene out of it, right? Fine. In that case, I'll leave you alone with all the troubles you've caused yourself. I don't care anymore. Oh, no, I didn't mean to make Margot mad. I quickly apologized to her, told her she was my best friend in the whole world, and asked her to go for a milkshake to make up. A week later, on the day my volunteer club was selling lemonade to raise funds for a children's charity, I suddenly fell sick. Oh no, I'd been telling everyone at the club how important this event was, but now I was the one who'd be absent. How embarrassing. I needed to show them how sincere I was. I texted the club president that I was sick, but if the club really needed me, I could still try to participate. Now I can finally sleep. But who would know? Before I even had time to curl up in bed, he texted back saying how they really needed my help. So if I could come, that'd be great. Oh, no. Did I really have to drag my feverish self over there? Not knowing what to do, I turned to Margot for advice, but she snapped at me. If you knew you couldn't go, why suggest otherwise? People will always take advantage of you if you let them. So just make it clear that you're sick and can't participate. Then she told me how her music club had a dinner meeting tonight, yet she'd already decided she was having a relaxing pamper session tonight, so she immediately told them she was otherwise engaged. Margot was right. If I'd done as she said in the first place, I wouldn't have had to rack my brains looking for excuses to say no without annoying anyone. Finally, I texted the club president that I was afraid of infecting everyone, so I'd better stay home. Then I fell asleep and found my worries plaguing my dreams. The next day, I felt better. So after class, I dropped by the club's room, but I instantly felt weird vibes from everyone. Then when I asked the club president how much money we'd earned from the event, he totally blanked me. Oh, no. He was obviously still mad with me for letting him down. I was lost in thoughts when suddenly someone tapped me on the shoulder. I heard you were sick. Are you feeling better now? It was Charlie, one of the club members. He told me that day I was off sick, he voluntarily took over all of my work. So I invited him out for a thank you dinner right away. Maybe he misunderstood my goodwill gesture, as after that he bombarded me with texts, calls, and soppy memes. Then one day while we were walking together, Charlie suddenly stopped and took my hand. Luna, we've known each other for a while now. I think it's time for me to confess my feelings. I like you. Will you go out with me? Oh my. What did he just say? I stood there dumbfounded. I mean, I liked him as a friend, but not romantically. But when I met his expectant gaze, my conscience began to torment me. He was such a nice guy, so how could I say no to him? In the end, I forced a smile, then nodded in agreement. My feelings for him will develop over time, right? But unfortunately, the answer to this was no. Actually, since we started dating, I found myself liking him even less than before. He does a lot of things that irritate me, such as the time he insisted we wear couple outfits to school. Yeah, slogan shirts with he's mine, she's mine printed on them should definitely be left in 2010. Ugh. He smugly ushered me around the school and seemed oblivious to the laughs and points in our direction. If only the ground could just open up and swallow me right away. That evening, noticing how fed up I looked, Margot asked me if everything was going all right between me and Charlie. So I told her everything. I thought she'd get mad at me again, but to my surprise, she just sighed and told me to tell the truth and break up with Charlie before things got too serious. That's the best way to stop both of us from getting hurt. And also, I've heard a lot of bad things about Charlie. People say he's kinda erratic. You better get this over with as soon as possible. Yeah, Margot's right. Next time I saw Charlie, I was ending this once and for all. Turns out I didn't have to wait long, because that Sunday afternoon, Charlie came to pick me up for our date. He told me he had a surprise in store for me, and I was gonna love it. Okay, it sounds like he'd gone to loads of effort, so it was probably best if I left breaking up with him until the journey home. Almost there! Hearing what Charlie said, I looked out the window and, oh my God! Is that a bungee jumping spot? So, long story short, here I am, 200 meters off the ground, my legs trembling like a leaf and my heart thudding like crazy. I was about to cry out of fear when suddenly I heard romantic music playing behind me. I turned around to see Charlie getting down on one knee. Behind him was eagle-eyed staff holding roses and candles while swaying to the music. What's happening? I know we haven't been dating long, but it's clear that we're made for each other. Luna, will you marry me? What? Did I hear him wrong? I mean, I'm only 17. Seeing my puzzled look, Charlie hurriedly said, I know we're still in high school, but don't worry, we can wait till graduation. Then let's have the most wonderful wedding straight after that. This was insane. I stood there, rooted to the floor, not knowing what to do, and seeing everyone watching and waiting made me feel even more pressured. I was trying to figure all this out when Charlie forced the ring on my finger. Oh my God. What should I do? What should I do? Well, in classic me fashion, I didn't do anything. My stupid hand just froze in place. And in the end, it turned out like this. No, I couldn't let this happen. Charlie, actually, I don't have feelings for you. I was going to tell you today, but I didn't expect things to end up like this. You're kidding me, right? If you didn't like me, you wouldn't have let me put the ring on earlier. So I explained everything to Charlie. His face darkened with disappointment. I felt so guilty. I should have just been straight with him from the beginning, then none of this would have happened. We can still be friends, can't we? I asked, but Charlie replied without even looking at me. If you don't like me, then why give me hope? Why the emotionless tone? It felt like he turned into a completely different person. Afraid, I kept quiet, not daring to blurt out so much as a word. I'd be home soon and away from this suffocating atmosphere. But as Charlie drove, I noticed how the surroundings became stranger and stranger. This is definitely not the way to the dormitory. Finally, the car stopped at an abandoned construction site. Luna, get out of the car. Sensing his irritable tone, I did as he said. You can stay here until you've figured out that we're destined for each other. Then call me. I watched in horror as he drove away and left me there. I was all alone, in the middle of nowhere. Panicked, I called Margot for help, but as soon as she picked up, my phone ran out of power. I explored the area, but it was completely deserted. Would I be stuck here forever without anyone knowing? It was getting late. I'd barely eaten or drank anything all day, and this felt hopeless. I burst into tears, and then everything fell dark around me. I woke up to the bright lights of the hospital. Margot jumped in to give me a hug, then explained what had happened. Turns out that night after I called her, she checked my location on Snapchat and saw that I was in some deserted place. Sensing something was off, Margot and the dormitory manager went to find me and took me to the hospital. Charlie was disciplined and detained for a month for the trouble he'd caused. After that horrible experience, I talked a lot with Margot. She comforted me, encouraged me, and said that it seemed like my desire to please others stemmed from childhood trauma. Perhaps it was my mother's words. If you want me to love you, you have to be nice. That created the character I have now. I couldn't continue to let the past consume me. That summer, when I returned home to see my mom, together, we poured out our feelings and faced our problems. I finally figured out that being nice to people wasn't a bad thing, but agreeing to things just to avoid disappointing people isn't the correct thing to do at all. Now, with Margot's help, I'm step by step learning to say no to things I don't want to do, 'cause life's way too short to say yes to everything. Don't you think?